Garden of the Gods is one of the most popular attractions in Colorado, but does it actually live up to the hype? We spent the day exploring everything from the main hiking trails to the scenic overlooks, and in this video, we'll show you what it's really like, whether or not we'd recommend adding it to your Colorado itinerary, as well as a few mistakes you'll want to avoid along the way. My name's Rich, and welcome to the channel where we learn our travel info the hard way so you don't have to. If you've never heard of Garden of the Gods before, it's a free public park on the west side of Colorado Springs that's famous for its massive red sandstone rock formations, easy to moderate hiking trails, and incredible views of Pikes Peak. For most people, this is perfect if you just want to get outside, stretch your legs, and enjoy some incredible scenery for a few hours without having to tackle some crazy all-day hike. If that sounds like your kind of afternoon, I think there's a really good chance you'll enjoy it here. This ended up being our very first stop on our road trip through Colorado. We flew into Denver the day before, spent the night there, then got up bright and early the next morning and made the little over 1 hour drive down to Colorado Springs. And actually, because it's so close, you could easily make this a day trip from Denver if you don't want to stay overnight here. Everything we read online suggested to set aside about 3 to 4 hours for the Garden of the Gods, so that's exactly what we did before checking into our resort. Like most first-timers, we weren't sure on where to start, so we figured the visitor center would probably be our best bet. The parking lot here is pretty big, but by the time we pulled up, it was completely full, and we actually had to make a couple laps and wait for a spot to open up.
We finally got here, got parking.
Through the face of adversity. There's a huge parking lot, but it is also full of cars. So to park, we had to kind of wait, just people watch and see who was leaving their spots and swoop right in before somebody else did.
That's not too bad. If this is your first time visiting, I definitely recommend stopping by the visitor center if you have the time. There's a ton of helpful information inside, along with some great displays and exhibits.
We got this display here, gives you a run through the ecology of the Garden of Gods. Let's look at Mr. Skunk. This gives you a little description on all the wildlife that's in the park, and not only the wildlife, but also what their dookie looks like. Golly. Look at the black bears. The guy had a healthy breakfast.
There's also a great view of the park from the back balcony, and the staff was super knowledgeable and helpful with info on how to navigate our day. Before heading out to the park, we stopped by the information desk to ask where to start, and I'm really glad we did. One of the first things she recommended was leaving our car parked in the visitor center parking lot instead of moving up to one of the smaller lots closer to the trailhead. We passed by one of them later in the day, and it was still completely full with a line of cars waiting for spots. She also recommended that after we're done with the main loop, we head up to hike the Siamese Twins Trail if we still had time, which we'll go explore here in a bit.
All right, let's head down the stairs and then we're gonna go hiking.
Once we got outside, we noticed that they do offer guided Jeep tours if you'd rather explore the park with a guide instead of on your own. You can book those through the visitor center, but popular time slots fill up fast, so I'll drop a link in the description with more info on that if you want to check it out. Now that we have a solid game plan, it's time to head down to the park. Well, almost.
I'll run back to the car real quick, grab some more bottles of water. It is not too hot out here, but the sun is beaming directly on you. Bring plenty of sunscreen and don't get run over by any cars.
You want the binoculars?
Do you want the binoculars?
We can.
Let's do it.
Back to the car we go. Numero trace, trip to the car. Third time's a charm.
I actually ended up having to make 3 trips back to the car because every time I came back, we realized we'd forgotten something else. Here's another little tidbit that we had to learn the hard way. Before you get out of your car, take one last look through your backpack and make sure you got everything you need for the day. Sunscreen, plenty of water, binoculars, totally optional. And if you're a sweaty beast like myself, be sure to throw a sweat rag in there too. Trust me, by the end of the day, it would have been nice to have one.
Video new, video new.
Yeah.
Like God's garden, almost. Remember, this is a natural area. Watch out for these bad boys. Golly, they made him look so aggressive too. He's a striker. Let's head down this gravel path and see what we come across. And she's usually a mall walker. On this trip, she's a park walker.
Huh? Helpful, always always help the maps along the way.
Oh,
And
we're
then
here,
back.
we're going
Yeah,
across.
we're going across
Okay.
and then coming back.
Gotcha.
And then we're gonna get in the car. There's a Siamese Twins Trail, so she recommended parking here, here, or here, depending on if it's full or not. So she told us.
You know how when you're sitting on the beach looking at the ocean and you realize how small and insignificant you are? That's how I feel right now. These things are massive. Look at these things. I'm sure the videos aren't doing it any justice, but these things are enormous.
As you get down closer to the rock formations, the first ones you approach are known as the Gateway Rocks because, you guessed it, they are the gateway into the Garden of the Gods. Standing at the base looking up at these things, I don't think I've ever felt so tiny in my entire life. There's plenty of plaques and signs with historical, geological, and directional information, making it almost impossible to get lost. One thing we noticed here that I was unaware was even an option until this point was that there is guided rock climbing available, if that's something you're into. There ended up being groups of climbers all throughout the park, some climbs looking way more intense than others. So if you're wanting to just keep it casual and free, you can easily just stick to the walking trails, but if you're more of a thrill seeker, chasing some adrenaline, you've got options as well. Guided climbs will need to be booked in advance, so be sure to keep that in mind.
All right, let's keep on trucking.
The main trail is about 1.5 mile loop through the park, is completely paved with subtle inclines, and is even wheelchair accessible. I don't know about anyone else, but I could not get over the scenery here. Just gorgeous panoramic views in every direction, and rock formations like I've never seen. If you're wanting to explore a little more, there's also several little side trails that break off from the main path. These are not paved and do have steeper inclines, but most are still easily manageable for someone with a reasonable amount of mobility. Again, there's maps and information everywhere, so all of the trails are extremely user-friendly and easy to navigate. The only side trail we ended up checking out was the Upper Loop Trail, which branches off from the southern end of the main loop and climbs the north face of the Sleeping Giant Rock. This one's short, only about 0.2 of a mile, and once we climbed up onto the rock, it ended up being the best view we saw in the whole park.
Look at this view, holy cow.
Now, if you live somewhere closer to sea level, like we do, the elevation change does take some getting used to. At least for me it did. This is about 6,000 feet above sea level, and the air is thinner up here, so don't be surprised if you're breathing a little heavier than usual.
That altitude change is no joke. Breathing a little shallow over here.
It was nothing that kept us from enjoying the park, just something to keep in mind if you're coming from lower elevations. Before we head up to the next trail, if you're enjoying the video so far, consider subscribing to the channel. We actually just got the channel monetized and are super excited about bringing more helpful travel tips your way.
I did not even think to bring any sweat rags. It's pretty hot out there. That is something I should have packed. A few sweat rags.
After finishing the main loop, we decided to take the advice we got from the nice lady at the visitor center and make one more stop before calling it a day. On the drive over, we passed the smaller parking lot closer to the trailhead, and just like she told us, it was still completely full with the line of cars waiting for spots to open up. We were told to head to parking lot 14, which is the closest lot to the Siamese Twins Trail. It's only about a 0.5 mile hike round trip.
Oh, this is cool. Marcus there. We're going to find the hole.
If you got an extra half hour or so, I'd say it's worth adding to your day. You're already here, might as well get the most out of it. Before heading out, we made one last stop at the gift shop, which is apparently the largest gift shop and trading post in the state of Colorado. They've got just about everything. Souvenirs, clothes, jewelry, furniture, you name it. It kind of reminded me of a Buc-ee's. There's a restaurant and even an ice cream shop, which is a pretty nice way to cool off after spending a few hours out on the trails.
Yeah, you're gonna get two and
Give it
take
to
it to
you.
go. Just have cream to drink later. I went with pecan praline and the cookie dough, and the guy behind us was nice enough to buy our ice cream for us because it's my birthday. It was really cool of him. Thank you, Elliot, if you ever happen to see this.
So, was Garden of the Gods worth visiting? For us, I'd say yes, 100%. If you enjoy getting outdoors, taking in some amazing scenery, and you're visiting the Colorado Springs area for the first time, I think this is one stop that's definitely worth making. The views are absolutely incredible. The trails are easy to navigate. There's something here for just about every activity level. And did I mention it's free? That's pretty hard to beat. As winded as I was here at only about 6,000 feet above sea level, it doesn't even come close to what happened the next day when we drove all the way up to the summit of Pikes Peak at over 14,000 feet.
All right, we got a picture in front of the sign. Now we are headed back down, so I can catch my breath. This is ridiculous and borderline embarrassing.
That's where we're headed next, and let's just say the altitude almost won that round. I'll see you over there.